I would like to discuss a little bit of the use of Microsoft Word as we're going to use it in engineering. I'm going to assume you have some knowledge of the program already. If not, please do ask me some questions during class. The first thing I want to talk about are fonts. Here's a file that I've created from a couple of web pages. The content is irrelevant, but you'll notice in this upper part you have one kind of font, and in the lower part we've got a completely different kind of font. And as we're producing papers, we want to make sure our fonts are consistent. This will especially be true as we import information from Microsoft Excel or from MATLAB. So in order to make the fonts the same, you just have to highlight all of the areas that we're interested in. I'm just going to do these couple of paragraphs here. I like to use Times New Roman, so we click up here in the font area, and I'm going to go down and choose Times New Roman. Now I have it here in recently used fonts, but everything here is listed alphabetically. And so I'll scroll down to Times New Roman, but on my way I want to stop in here at Symbol. Symbol is the Greek font, and we're going to use that quite a bit. You can see all these letters are now Greek symbols, Greek letters. So that's probably a font you should get used to as well. Let's go down to Times New Roman, and here it is. So I click on that, and I prefer a font size of 12. It's a very common font and font size in some papers that you may do as you progress through your academic career. So you can see all of this grayed area has the same font. Still different than everything else, but it's the same as it is within these paragraphs. If I wanted to get everything in the entire document, I could hit Control A on the keyboard, and that, you can see, highlights everything. Then I can go to Times New Roman, which was recently used, so it's right here under recently used fonts. And again, I want a font size of 12. Now as you reproduce the paper that you'll get in lab number 2, you're going to have to figure out what font works best. And you've got lots to choose from, so that could take you a little while to kind of get that down. Another thing that's very common in engineering is subscripts and superscripts here within the text. So let's say this 72, I wanted to be 7 to the 2nd power. So I highlight the 2, and then I go up here in the font area and I see a superscript. And now I've got 7 squared in here. Now if I wanted that 2 to be a subscript instead of a superscript, I would highlight it again and then hit the subscript button. And you can see now it's 7 subscript 2. Those are also some font situations that you're going to find yourself in quite a bit. Possibly though the most important thing that we'll use as scientists and engineers is the equation writer. So I'm going to jump in between these two paragraphs, and I want to insert an equation. So I'm going to click on Insert. And then way over here you'll see symbols, but if I click down on that you can see equation. Now there are some equations that are already created, but I'm not going to use that. So you can see I'm going to type an equation in here, and notice that the main menu up here has changed. Also notice the equation tools here at the top and the design. So here are a lot of symbols that we might be used. There are many others. But you'll see here fractions. Scripting means superscripts and subscripts. Radical notation, and the integration over here. And we're going to use a lot of this over the semester. Large operators include the summation, which is the Greek letter sigma, and you'll see quite a bit of that. Well, let's just say for the sake of argument I want to do an integral, and I'm going to give it upper and lower limits. There's a couple of different ways you can see I can do that. I'm going to choose this one here in the middle, and I want to go inside of this box right here, so I highlight that, and I want to put in fraction. So I'm kind of mixing up a lot of stuff in here. And I want the integral of x squared, so I'm going to need scripting. So that's right here. Notice here's a subscript, here's a superscript. This one involves both. I'm going to use this one. And then I highlight in here, that's x. And then the superscript, I can click on that, or I could just hit the arrow key and it'll automatically go to the superscript. And then I'm going to hit the down key a couple of times. Let's say I want x squared over 5, so I'm going to put a 5 in here. And let's integrate from 1 to 7. So I hit the right arrow key to go from the 1 up to the top of the integral, 7. I'm going to hit the right arrow key a couple more times, and that's going to bring me over here to the right side, and I'm going to type dx. So we want the integral of x squared over 5 dx from 1 to 7. And once I'm done with that, I just click outside, and there's the integral, there's the equation that we want to be working with. So you're going to utilize this quite a bit. So please do take some time, practice with the equation writer, put a couple of different things in, and you can go from there. You can put equations inside the text. So I could click, say this is good preparation. I'm going to go in here to preparation. I'm going to put a space in to give myself some room. And let's say I want a superscript of some type. So I go to Insert, Equation, do a script of e to the x, for example. So I want e as the base, x as the exponent. And there's e to the x. One other thing we'll use quite a bit as engineers are tables. We'll go back to the Insert menu, and here's Tables over here. Click that little down arrow. If I hit Insert a Table, I can choose the size, but if I already know it's going to be, say, 3 by 5, I can just highlight the 3 by 5 section there, and you can see this table is 3 by 5. If I highlight the entire table and I do a right click, I go to Table Properties, I can change some of the things here. Do I want text to wrap around the table? Do I want text to be under or below the table? But borders and shading is a big one. Oftentimes I'll use none for borders. I'll click on OK. And if I do that, you can see the table's disappeared, but it's still there. And if I click in here and then use the arrow keys to scroll around, you'll see that it still tabulates things. And sometimes if I want to change the sizes of the cells, I can do that as well. Highlight the entire table. Again, I'll do a right click, Table Properties, and Cells. I can alter the width. I can make it smaller or larger. I can type in here to make it exactly the way I want it, 1.75 in case instead of 1.8. And you can see the table's now smaller. And if I want to center it, I can do that as well, just by going to the Paragraph menu, center everything that way. There's a few aspects of Word you might need to use in your future, so take a look at those, and we'll do more things as the semester progresses.